Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, Jonathan Price. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Ilaria. And you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. So today's topic is a little bit harsh, I'll say, because we're going to talk about the recent weakness in the price of the Bitcoin. Is that correct?
Yes, Ilaria. Yeah. Since the beginning of 2021, Bitcoin had climbed to an all-time high of over $64,000. But in the course of the last week, it's fallen back quite a lot to about $40,000 as we speak, and had got as low as $30,000 yesterday. So it's sort of halved in value over a very short period of time.
I know, I actually couldn't believe myself yesterday. Anyway, why is the
Painful,
price,
yes.
yeah, why is the price being so volatile?
Well, volatile is the right word, I think. When it hit that low of $30,000, it had fallen by more than 53% from its high point. And I'm sure a lot of people got their fingers burnt in the process. I know I lost a little bit of money, as well as other people losing much larger amounts.
Yeah. So was Elon Musk one of them, do you think?
Yeah, I think possibly so. I'm not sure that it's really affecting him very much, though. I don't think he'll be claiming food stamps anytime soon, as he's one of the world's three richest men. But seriously now, Tesla's changes in policy on Bitcoin, which we all heard about last week, are one of several factors which are affecting the price of Bitcoin today. I think there are four factors in total which we have to think about. You see, Elon has the power to move the market with a single tweet, a bit like Donald Trump, really. And his tweeted decision that Tesla was going to, or had a big holding of Bitcoin and was going to add to it by accepting Bitcoin in payment for their cars, that was one of the factors leading to the rise of Bitcoin up to $64,000. And then he did the same again with Dogecoin, although that may just have been his sense of humor. It's difficult to tell with him. But his most recent announcement that Tesla would stop accepting Bitcoin because of the environmental damage that mining it supposedly does to the climate really served to focus everybody's attention on the sustainability and the environment, and that wasn't very good.
So I've noticed that you use the word supposedly. Do you think there is any doubt that Bitcoin mining damages the climate?
Well, I think it's a bit more complicated than it seems. Certainly, Bitcoin mining uses a vast amount of electricity, but it all depends on how that electricity is generated. A lot of it is generated in China, and in the rainy season, there is quite a lot of surplus power in southern China. And so in that season, it's not really much of a problem. But in the dry season, when there isn't so much hydropower, the electricity is generated quite a lot through coal-fired generation, and that obviously is a problem for carbon emissions. And by the way, it's not thinking about Tesla losing money. It's not clear that Tesla lost so much when the value of Bitcoin fell, because it had sold quite a bit of its holding at a massive profit just before the end of its first quarter, 2021. You see, it reported quite a bit of profit in the first quarter of this year. But when you analyze where that profit came from, most of it didn't come from selling cars. Most of it came from selling carbon credits and from trading Bitcoin. So it had already reduced its position anyway by the end of March.
So what are the other factors affecting the price of Bitcoin? You said there are four, right?
Yeah, four, that's right. So Elon Musk is one, and the other three are China, Tether, and regulatory problems, though I suppose in a sense they are all related to regulation. China, you see, announced the day before yesterday that a further clampdown on Bitcoin activities was going to be implemented, including the use of Bitcoin. You see, China's played a very big role in Bitcoin, both in its mining, its trading, and its use. And the Chinese authorities don't like it because they are not in control of it. And this is sort of summed up nicely by an analyst at one of the major Japanese banks in a piece which I read in the Financial Times today. He said that regulators want to ensure that the money supply always comes from the central bank and not from anywhere else. Okay, well, of course, creation of Bitcoin is the creation of money, which is money supply. And of course, the Communist Party has got no control over it. So they're very much against it. So they've issued this sort of instruction to all the provincial governments to crack down on Bitcoin usage. And one of the main provinces involved is the province of Inner Mongolia, near the border with Mongolia proper. And the provincial government, in response, has set up a special phone line for residents to blow the whistle on companies which are illegally mining Bitcoin. So that's just an example of the steps that they're taking to try and do this clampdown.
I see. It sounds serious, actually. What's the problem with Tether?
Okay, the third problem is Tether. Now, one of our previous discussions, we talked a bit about stable coins, and I explained then that Tether had got into a little bit of hot water with the New York Attorney General's office, and that as a result, to avoid being prosecuted, it had to agree to pay a big fine as part of a dispute settlement process. Well, another part of the settlement was Tether agreeing to disclose the details of the assets it holds to back up the issuance of the tethers, of the Tether coins. Well, they eventually got round to doing this last week, and the results were, shall I say, a little bit underwhelming. Tether does have, it seems, at least enough assets to back all the coins that it has issued, just about, but it doesn't have much of a margin of error. And some of those assets are not exactly the most liquid or safe assets in the world. You see, this causes potentially a problem, because if one of those asset classes has a problem and takes a valuation hit, the commercial paper market, for example, because Tether holds a lot of commercial paper, then suddenly tethers might not be backed 100% by dollars after all. And if that happens, Tether could quite easily lose credibility.
So if that happened, would it be very serious for Bitcoin?
Well, it would, because lots of people who trade Bitcoin trade it against Tether rather than against fiat US dollars, because it's much easier and much more convenient and cheaper to do so. So if Tether fell out of favor, or if Tether became devalued, it could hit the liquidity of Bitcoin quite badly.
I see. So what are the other regulatory problems for Bitcoin?
Well, there isn't anything specific at the moment, but there is just a general feeling that people in government who are not crypto bros and people in the environmental movement are sort of ganging up on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world. And you see, this is why, partly why Elon's change of mind is so important, because he was seen as a supporter of cryptos. And if even its supporters are no longer fully behind it, then the future might not be so bright. So that's why people are just sort of nervous in general. Personally, I think this mood will pass, but it is cold weather outside today, both literally, as you said, snow is forecast, but also metaphorically. You know, it is quite chilly for Bitcoin at the moment, and the price, at least today, seems to be stuck around that 40,000 number.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was very interesting as usual. I think we just have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, we certainly will. Well, you're most welcome, Ilaria.
Thank you very much, and I'll speak soon.
Okay, speak next time.
Thank you.